in here. Gonna provide review some friends gameplay. Deshaun here. If you want to watch these videos on YouTube, they're on YouTube already. Watch the full thing. I'm not gonna go through the whole video, but if you haven't watched these videos before, it might be nice to watch the whole video to get some context on things. I'm not gonna go through everything, so if there's anything specific that I missed, please let me know. But I'm just gonna cover some things here. So, start off, we got a couple kills. We're rotating in. It's round 2. We're in zone here. Deshaun and I run into a team here, and they're crafting. So we just get a nice little entry damage here. And then one thing I want to highlight for you, Deshaun, is look at my positioning. My positioning is a little weird in terms of like how much body I'm showing. I don't need to be this pushed up, right? For me to see this, I can be further back on this cover and expose less of my body. But you should have my positioning like around there, right? I'm not showing my whole face. I'm not like, my whole body's not shown here. More than my upper body's shown that I'd like to, but it's still like really nice. On the flip side, you just jump down in the middle of no cover. Don't do that. Be very careful. Luckily, we had enough entry damage that they can't really mess with you, but you want to be very careful. Luckily, you realize it right away. Again, your body's a little exposed. You don't need to be showing your whole body here. But like, watch how I'm always near like close to this box here. Like right when I peek this, I'm like, not here. Here was a little bad, but like I start backing up towards the box, right? So I can crouch and use all that cover there. So just be careful. Like we mentioned earlier, when we were talking in DMs, like sometimes you will die because you overextend. So just be careful. That was a situation that could have happened. We're both healing here. I put a bad gen here, which is destroyed. Again, you're like playing a little forward, right? This is not the best. You can see you're taking some damage there, and like you gotta climb. Like it's just not a good situation. Like you're just kind of going back and forth there. So you gotta be very careful there. Looking for damage here. One thing that's really important here, this fight goes on really long. So understand that when fights go longer than 30 seconds or a minute, you're gonna get third partied. So play good cover. Make sure you identify his way out. For us, our way out is like where we came from. We can go to the right here. We can push through. There's a lot of angles we can go through. This is why I put my gen here. Is if we get in a bad situation, that will help us play our cover.
Push him or don't?
Yeah, push him. So here we find out there's an ISO target. So when we're playing, and there's a stalemate like this, you want to get good entry damage to walk up on, or like an ISO target.
Just ignore him, help our teammate.
So we push over. Again, look at my positioning. It's a little good here. I'm hugging the boxes. I'm not like out in the open, and then identify this box. I'm like, okay, I'm walking up. I can play this cover, right? I'm missing my shots. I don't do very good. You killed him, which was really good. You had a really good crossfire here. And then you had a really good comm here. I didn't exactly know where, so I was like kind of looking. And then I can't even see Gibby. I'm assuming this is the Gibby that's shooting me, but like I just trust that you and my teammate have my cover here, and I just sit in my corner here, right? One thing that's really important about this is we'll show later on, but there's another situation similar to this at the end of the video. Hopefully I don't forget to show it. But this is basically what happens here, right? Enemy walks up. I don't see exactly where he is, but I know that you guys have my cover, right? So I go right towards you guys, right? So this is exactly what happened here. I don't have any vision on the Gibby, but again, I'm walking back in the cover, and I'm like, you guys have my back. I don't need to move from this cover, right? So something that's very important to identify is when you have cover and your teammates are watching you, don't freak out. Sometimes, and my friends who play with me a lot will know this, I freak out sometimes, just bail and die anyways, right? Like this is something that happens. You gotta just trust your teammates. I've been in that situation hundreds of times. I've ran and died, so I sat there. I knew you had my cover. Again, I run straight to the box to get an armor swap in case I need it. I don't need it because my armor's full, but in case I get in a bad situation, I get the armor swap. I'm next to the drop here, and yep. Whereas look at your position, you're on the open, you have nowhere to go, not good. You're rushing one guy, but we don't know who the teammates are, right? Armor swap for me, and then as soon as another squad comm comes up, like your character is comm that there's another squad, you get down, right? In situations like this, you gotta be close to cover, don't overcommit, right? Play your life, know that you might get destroyed here, and like your lifeline, you should be playing back. I'm also Watson, actually playing back. We should always be playing back and capitalizing on enemy mistakes here. There's nothing we're capitalizing here on, right? We're just walking up for no reason here, right? Which leads me to the next question is when should you walk up, right? You can walk up on various things, and I'll go over this later on as well, but like, examples of walking up could be good damage, uncontested space, isolated enemy, down player, right? So we walked up earlier because of the isolated enemy, we got the kill. Now that we're in an advantage, 2v3, we can just push through, right? So as soon as we get third partied here, we can just push through to where they were, take their spot here, and if there were people here, we can just wipe them, right? Because it's 3v2. Alright, so you die here. And again, when you're playing Opus, you gotta, or in general, when playing Apex, you're in a fight longer than a minute. Just assume you can get third party. Like, don't overcommit. Alright? I am calm here because I know that we can just roll these teams. Alright, so I look in the, I'm looking for him to push. If my gun was reloaded, I could have beamed him there. Unfortunately, I didn't. Still just rip him a little bit here. Not right there, maybe later. I did a psycho repeak here. I want to explain why I did this here. Is sometimes when the enemy is expecting you to bat, you can get really good peek timings here. So I was like, let me peek and catch him off guard here, because I can peek back into my cover if not. So I got some good damage. I don't want to over peek there again because that'd be a psycho. Teammate's already on that, pressuring him, which is nice. He downs him too, which is really nice. I mean, notice that, and we just get the kill, right? We get thirded, we can get armor swaps. I didn't even see him. There's a guy right there. And they think they have the advantage here. They think they can destroy us here, right? So we get into our recover here. Pop a Feeny here. I tell my teammate to come back because like he needs to get the freak back because he's out there. And this is why I like playing Watson is they come to us, right? Like when I have a fortification, we can play it. The nice wise man once said, "Fuck it, we ball." And right here, like I'm surprised about that. That was a good call, but like that's crazy that guy did that. And then we're 2v2 all of a sudden. It was a 3v2, now it's 2v2. I just want to get the swap just in case. I have no ammo, and he just walks into a beam, and then it just wraps at that point. They come in one by one, right? And like it makes sense, right? They just came in one by one. We both were next to each other, and that's why it's important is when you play with your team, right? If either of us are ISO, we lose these. But because we're next to each other, we can just roll that shit real quick. Okay, so we reload. I'm not gonna watch this whole thing here. This is kind of important here. So I'm looking at the map. So we rotate out. Is it zone 4? I'm looking at the map like going, where would people be, right? It's a very low chance, especially in this rank meta, that people are just sitting in edge of zone next to a beacon. Very low chance. There's some teams that do that, but it's top 3. I'd imagine they're in gardens or in here. So when I pop the evac, I'm like, hey, this has beacon console, it has res beacon, it's on the edge of the map. Like there's just very low chance that people are gonna be there. It's still a high chance it could be there. It's a low chance, but like, you know, we have to take that, you know, chance here. And the good news is, my secondary spot was this wall, right? That wall, if it's taken or contested, we can just land there. I get shot from gardens. I know there are people there. It looks clear. I'm just sending it. But my backup plan, I didn't calm this out because, you know, I just was thinking in my head. But I ping it right here. I'm like, hey, there's people here. We can play this wall. Not the best, but we can make do and we can figure out where to go later. So res you. Do that. Here I get the beacon. We're on the zone essentially. I start fencing up. And then I start looking at what we can play, right? What's playable on zone 5 here. And we have a lot of fences we can put down, other stuff. Oh wait, someone close, right? Is that? Sorry, where are they? And I can set my defenses up and we're good here. Sorry, I had some more stuff here. So here I see there's another guy. I heard like a catalyst queue, so I'm like, hey, is there someone over here? So we went over here. We see a rat. The other team is starting pushing up because we're killing this rat. We end this rat's life, but unfortunately the rat now put us in a bad spot. We lost our zone control, and it's not looking good for us, right? I think one of our guys gets downed. We have this cover here, but it's not the best. I put my gen down. The good news is I'm down. I'm watching for you guys. You guys are healing. I'm watching. This is a good thing you got to realize is when you're playing with teammates, you got to watch for your teammates, right? So I put a nade there, make sure they can't walk up here. I see a bow check here on the right. And it's my job right now. I realize that all the pressure's on me to make sure that you guys can heal. So I'm trying to like peek for you guys, shoot. I'm not trying to like kill anybody. I'm just trying to get some good damage to them not to walk up. I start selling here, and I realize he's walking up. I over peek here, right here. I shouldn't have peeked this, but I realized I need to just wait for this guy to come into my beam here, right? Somehow he just knows that I'm there and rips me. Luckily, I did enough damage for him to be scared, which is kind of weird considering that they downed one. Like, they should have just walked up and killed us, but they catwalled because they scared. I realized the catwall is to section us off, so we cannot play in front of the wall. We gotta play behind the wall, which actually, again, it kind of saved us. We played really lucky here. I look around, and I see that we're moving back. I see that the guy that we just rezzed, Pathy, actually in a pretty good spot. And by pretty good spot, I mean, like, of the spot we're playing, it's all bad, but this is the best spot we have of a bad situation. Right away I realize zone's coming in. They're trying to pressure us. They don't realize that we can just walk under them, and they're playing their wall, right? There's a how I view this is like they play this wall for us to push through on purpose. They're not going to really understand that there's spots behind there, and they're not in zone. They're playing the edge of this white zone right here. So I calm that we got to go under, right? And once I realize they don't have the space here, I realize when I spent the time earlier in the video, I realized what we can play. We can play the stairs here. We can play the bins. We can play this. You know, it's really good. And we, like I talked to after we route reviewed this, our space is up until this staircase. Everything from the staircase to me is our space. Everything behind this is their space, right? So I calm to you, play this. Unfortunately, I don't really think you like heard me very well. You play with the teammate. I'm shooting for you. But like I needed you guys to kind of play on me. And then look, they walk up. I should have got a beam here. That's kind of my bad. I fucked up really badly there. But then our guy walks up. You walk with him, and it kind of just like we just lost our advantage, unfortunately. Luckily, I can get a trade here, and then it's just 1v1 for me, and then we kind of just rolled them. But again, just to review, play the cover, play with your teammates. You didn't do a bad thing. Your bad habit is walking up. Luckily, you were supporting our teammate, which is not generally bad. You know, it's good to support your teammate, but like if it's between playing with me and playing with the enemy team, or sorry, the Pathfinder, try to play with me. There's some situations where you got to play with the teammate that's being stupid like Pathy, but you know, just keep in mind, you know, if you're doing with somebody, it's better to play with your duo than the random. That's pretty much it. We win this game. Go on to game 2 here. We're at 10 minutes. I'm gonna try to keep this one short, 10 minutes each. We're gonna skip to 10 here. So we get a really long fight here. We kind of run to a team, and we're just in a stalemate for like 30 seconds. Right? I put a gen down right away because I realized this can maybe be a long fight. They don't have zone. We do. So we kind of solve this out to play zone, right? And if you realize this, like, everything behind this pillar is their space. Everything from the pillar to me is our space, right? So here it's kind of just a stalemate. We're just poking. We take a lot of damage. I'm watching for you guys. I think I get destroyed here. Yeah, I get fucking destroyed here. So I'm batting. Right here, John, you gotta realize it's your job to watch for us, but you gotta just play the cover. So you kind of go up ahead. I called it out. I'm like, hey, play back, because again, this is something you do. You walk up, and you get beamed, and you die sometimes, which is fine, but you caught yourself, which is really good. One thing that's important here is, again, when do we walk up? This is just general rule. There's other reasons to walk up, but to get uncontested space, walk up on some damage, isolated person, down player. In this situation, I don't see your damage. Maybe you got some good damage on it, but it wasn't enough to really for us to walk up, right? And you're walking into 3 people, right? Imagine this like, you know, if you're in an assembly line, or like just draw one line, 3 enemies on one side, 3 enemies on the other side. We're behind the cover. You're walking up by yourself into 3 people's view. Not good. So just be very careful. I crack one right here. Why am I not walking up on a crack damage? You guys are both low. I gotta defend you guys. Destroyer here, pushing by himself. 1 HP, 1 HP. Again, why am I not walking up on 2 damage people that low? You guys are both low. I can't walk in 1v3. I need you guys to be healthy before I walk up. Just give you guys the mindset of like why I'm not walking up, right?
Yeah, me either. I'm out too.
So right here, we did some damage though. At least we could get some space. So I put some fence down to get some space. This guy just is a psycho. And imagine, again, he walks up by himself into 3 people, right? His teammates aren't helping. This is like kind of what you did a second ago. It's like, again, imagine this like wall. We're gonna delete all this. Imagine this is a wall, like a cat wall, right? There's 3 X's on this side. You know, 3 greens are here. And 3 reds, right? Right? If this cat wall, if someone walks forward, we all can just see him, right? This is what this guy did. He just walked in front of a cat wall essentially, and then we all just beamed the freak out of him, right? The reverse is true. You did that earlier. Just keep in mind, like that's kind of how things will work. Sometimes you gotta be very careful. You gotta play your cover really well. We down 1 for 1. Good trade, but this is enough for us to walk up a little bit. And very good cover you put. I like that a lot. I called a push this here. I wide swing because I thought it was ISO. It's my bad. I fucked up here. I also missed my shots. I should have just missed my shot. I remind you to push with me, which is good. You played it very well. So kudos to you. You actually played that cover really well. Just be careful. I got really worried there because there was a second where you look away. So I swing this. You're with me, and then you're looking the other direction. A little scared. It's fine. Like, you played that way better than I did. I wide swung on ISO. Twitch, I thought was ISO, and then they kind of came in swinging. Cool. So next fight here. We're gonna go down to the next fight here. I think we ran to a team. Oh yeah, so we find another team. They're third partying. We're about to third party this, but I realize that this fight is not really worth us taking. We're not in zone, whatever. There's a cat wall. Again, the cat wall principle, right? We have no visuals on the enemy team. I'm not gonna check that. There's 6 people on the other side of the wall. Just go play the cover we have. We walk up. I realize we're in zone here. We have space. There's people in here. We know that. And eventually, I find out that there's a team inside the little city here, the little town, right? We got to be careful here because some of these angles that I play, I get shredded, right? I'm playing this angle to watch inside, I get like shredded, right? So here you got to identify what's free. These boxes are free, these pillars are free. We have a very short sight line that we can play because both teams are looking at us. And I think later on I pinged you. I'm like, hey, I'm safe right here. I'm safe right here. Like this spot I'm in, because you guys we're all getting pounded over there. I'm just gonna be frank, me included. So like this spot's really nice. Um, and again, this wants me to remind me to tell you that like when you're in between two teams, what do you gotta do? Push through one team, hold a good spot. We have a good spot, we can hold it. They're in a bad spot, they gotta come to us. Same thing as earlier. And then when you walk up, you gotta find good angles and good cover right here. I know I walk up here, I'm like shimmying between this corner because I realize that you guys are watching me. I can look at this angle and catch somebody, right? If I'm in a bad spot, I can back up right away. Alright. Luckily I get a nice one clip. And then I realize they're on the corner. It's just wraps, 2 one clips there. And then we just push this. And the good news is, we all just wipe that clean. And the good news is, if that enemy team push right here, we have armor swaps. Right? We would be effectively really, easy to fight this off. The other team doesn't even push because the fight was like 2 seconds. And that's how fights should be. Capitalize on the mistake and just destroy them. This team keeps us. We get ulted here. He puts a zip. And I realize the zip we can't take this. We're gonna be sitting targets and we're bad. So like we're just getting destroyed off the zip, right? So I walked up here. And look at all the cover we have. The walk up actually isn't bad at all. The walk up is really good. I play it slow. You guys are getting shot, which is unfortunate, but this team is looking to move. They hear us shooting. They hear us shooting each other. They walk up. I call them mirror this team. And then they just start fighting for us, which is great. Other than that, I'm not going to go over this fight. I mean, this fight was really good. The only thing I want to say is, I'm not sure how he went down. He wide swung here. You guys have to listen to. Be careful. We were fighting 2 teams. I wanted to fight the team that was initiating. I think you guys kind of caught up and fought the other team. Because this spot we have is really nice. We have a nice heady here. Right here, I yell to you, play the cover, because this is exactly the reverse situation of before, right? Where I drew that picture on that box. I deleted it now because I probably should have kept it. But that situation is reverse from earlier. I'm you and you're me. You got to play that cover really well because I can see on your left and right who's coming, and you can catch me if someone pushes me. Unfortunately, I think it got lost in translation. It was kind of in the moment, but it was fine. Right, I was able to shoot that guy. You're able to look for me in case, and then I cover you. Nice armor swap. I saw you got the armor swap. Yep, and it was good. Clean game. Like I said, I looked over you, looked over me. We could have played that slightly a little better, but it was still really good. So, thanks for watching. Like I said, big key points is just make sure you don't overextend. If you do look for an angle, just make sure you have cover. Like I mentioned when we were talking to each other, Apex is going to be a lot of third partying. So make sure you know where your covers are, know where your escape routes are, and when push comes to shove, just push the team that has a disadvantage or hold a